Hello and welcome to the Film Pulse Podcast. This is episode number 516. My name's Anna Patterson. With me today, we've got Kevin Rakestraw. Hey, Kevin.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going all right. Going all right. This week on the show, we're going to be talking about Cuckoo, and then we're also going to be going over some of what we're watching on the watch list and this week's new releases in theaters, VOD, and Blu-ray. Thank you so much for joining us this week. Let's go ahead and get into our review with Cuckoo. This is written and directed by Tillman Singer. I have a synopsis here. A 17-year-old girl is forced to move with her family to a resort where things are not what they seem. Kevin, we'll start up with you. What were your initial impressions of Cuckoo? Fear its call is the tagline.
Fear its call. Yeah. I gotta give a lot of credit for it being outlandish. Love the outlandishness of this movie. Because honestly, going into it, I didn't really know what the hell this was about at all.
Nor did I.
It's just like, okay, she's pursued by a woman. You know, and you start getting those, kind of like haunted by a presence or whatever. How many movies have existed like that in the last 5 years. So there's a little bit of a worry there. But with it being Tillman Singer, you're feeling like it can't just be that. Like there's got to be more to it. And thank fucking goodness that there's more to it because it's ridiculous and over the top. And I gotta say, I pretty much enjoyed myself entirely.
As did I. And I think that this is a movie that it could really go either way for a lot of people. I imagine this being a very polarizing movie. I can see it really working for some people that embrace just how nuts it gets. And then I can see some people just being like, what the fuck is happening here? Like, what am I seeing?
Yeah.
Fortunately, I was in the former category, as it sounds like you were as well. I maybe wanted a little bit more. I could have used it. I could have had it be a little bit even more unhinged than it was, and I think I would have enjoyed myself even more with it. But I think for me, what really kept this afloat, one of the main things that kept this afloat, was the setting. I loved the resort itself. I loved the area, the look and the aesthetic of this movie really did it for me. That was a big factor for me.
Yeah. No, the location is great. Performances are great. I think there's another thing that I appreciated. There's just enough humor throughout, like just peppered here and there.
Mm-hmm.
And not laugh out loud, but just humorous enough just to kind of cut it and give it another little aspect to it, a little more depth that I enjoyed. And then, Dan Stevens is just, he's ridiculous as well.
He's so good in this. Like, he is so good in this.
And I forgot that he was even in this movie.
So did I.
And as soon as he shows up, I'm just like, what the fuck are we doing? Why is Dan Stevens? Why is he this person?
Yeah.
Which I think was enough to kind of give me a little elbow nudge of like, hey, this is going to be a little ridiculous.
Yeah. It's certainly where it goes. You don't expect it. You don't know. At least for me, I was like, what is this? All the way up until almost the end when they sort of almost basically spell it out.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, I see what's happening here. This is very bizarre, but I'm into it.
Yeah.
I think. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, I think I would have appreciated it more. Like the only qualm that I have against it is some of the exposition dumps that it does, like when Dan Stevens is kind of explaining everything about, like, I think we could have cut that out. You know what I mean? Just leave it a little more open-ended and vague, which would have made it a little bit more unhinged. I think I would appreciate it a little bit more, but even then,
yeah, there's another moment in the final act where the doctor lady sort of does a little exposition dump, and that's, I feel, even more like expository than what Dan Stevens says.
Yeah. It's like,
So if they got rid of that or the Dan Stevens one, I think, because like by that point we already kind of knew what was going on, but you know that's such a minor quibble for me on this.
Oh, same here. Yeah.
I feel like that there were still plenty of things left open-ended that you could just be like, you know, by the time the credits roll, you're still like, what the fuck? Like what did I just see?
Yeah,
What's going on
because
here?
I mean, yeah, because even what they do explain, it's not. There's still enough that's not explained that you're just like, why the fuck are you doing this?
It's still completely bizarre, and you don't really understand, or at least I didn't really understand the motivation of these people. Like why are you doing this? Why is this happening? Yeah,
because he's rich and bored.
I guess that's probably what it is. Hunter Schafer plays the lead here. She does a great job. Not super familiar with her stuff. I did see the first season of Euphoria, so that's the main place that I know her from, I think. I'm just quickly looking here to see if I saw her in anything else, and I don't think so. She was in the Hunger Games Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, which I didn't see, and Kinds of Kindness, which I also didn't see yet. But yeah, she was good in the role.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, no, definitely.
Takes some punishment in this movie. She gets fucked up like pretty bad.
It's one after another. It's just an escalation of things.
That first scene when she bangs her head on the glass, at first you're like, ooh, ouch. And then like you realize how bad she actually banged her head on the glass.
Yeah, because you're just
oh my god.
It's like, what the fuck? What is up with German glass?
Yeah, it's like freaking double paned or something. Her head is just gushing blood. Which brings me to the other thing that I wanted to highlight, and that's the makeup effects in this. I thought were quite good. Like the wounds in this, the cuts and the bleeding and all of that looked extremely realistic to me. Especially like there's the scene when after she bangs her head, they show this like close up of her getting her head stapled, and it looked so real to me.
Yeah,
like they did such a good job with the makeup in this. Used actual like physical blood, not just CG blood. I think there was some CG blood, but I think it was mostly practical blood, which is sad, but something that I think deserves highlighting at this point in movies. And it's not like it was an extremely graphic or violent movie or anything. I mean, it had spurts and stuff, but I think it was more just an odd movie. I wouldn't say it was necessarily scary either. I mean, certainly the thing, the woman that was stalking her is creepy at times.
Yeah, can be an unsettling presence, but it wasn't. Yeah, I didn't get that much horror out of this.
Yeah, no, I don't.
I would say there was some interesting things that flirted with that idea. Some setups, the way things were shot. It's like, oh, we might be getting into a little creepy territory, but it just never fully went across the threshold for me.
Same. I liked the glowing eyes. I thought that was a nice effect. And yeah, other than that, it was fine as far as like the thriller elements to it, but nothing over the top. There's something else I was going to say.
The thing that I was going to mention is, or I should say that going back to, his first movie, Luz, that we watched, which was like a super slow burn, right? Just slow burn. This was like the antithesis of that, and the pacing was perfect. It was just like they get to the resort, the woman's like introduced immediately, and we just hit the ground running, and we just go.
Yeah, there's no like super long build up or anything like that. I mean, even in that like opening scene, basically when she goes into the bathroom, you're instantly unsettled, and I think that that's really where this movie shines, is just how unsettling it is. Like you never feel at ease with this movie. There's always something kind of weird happening. Even when like, she gets a job at the resort, and like you have this weird thing where like all these like strange guests are coming in, and women are coming in like half naked and getting sick on the floor, and it's just there's always something that's happening where you're just like, oh, something not right here. Something's weird. And I think that Singer does a really good job of kind of parceling that out in a really nice even keel, so that we never lose that engagement. We're always kind of like, okay, that's another weird thing to add to the list. And none of it feels like tedious or samey.
Yeah.
It just keeps nudging you along, which I really liked. This, I believe, is also shot on film. At least if it wasn't shot on film, holy crap, they did an amazing job of like adding filters or whatever they did to make it look like it. But fairly certain this had to be shot on film. Yeah, I just looked it up. It was shot on 35 millimeter.
Okay. All right, Dan.
I think Luz was too.
I think pretty sure.
I don't know if it was 35 millimeter, but I'm fairly certain that was shot on film. That was his like graduating like film school project. His graduating film school project.
Ridiculous.
Yeah. What a project to end your school off with. Holy crap. And I think that, this is I liked Luz. If I remember correctly, you did too. Mm-hmm. But I think that this is definitely a step up. I think that it takes all of the kind of interesting visual elements of Luz, and it creates a more captivating story out of it. So like visually, this director is totally there for me. Like, I love, again, just to reiterate, love the look of this. I want to go to wherever this place is, because it is definitely my jam. But I think that, like, as far as accessibility, I think that this one, even though, as I said, I think that it is a polarizing film for some, I think that it is more accessible than his last film.
I mean, if you can get on board with an outlandish plot and have fun with it, you're going to get a lot out of this, I think.
Yeah.
That'd be my guess.
If you enjoyed movies like Malignant or even Barbarian, just thinking about recent movies.
Yeah.
Those, you kind of have an idea. Like, it's not the same as those, obviously, but it does a similar thing where everything seems, it just takes a turn at one point and just goes completely batshit. And I think it's very interesting.
Commits to that bad shitness, though. Appreciate like that.
Yeah. All right, so this is definitely one I recommend, and it sounds like for you as well. Let's go ahead and give it a score. Kevin, what are you going to give Cuckoo out of 10?
I give it a 7.
I'm sitting at a 7 on this as well. It's out on VOD now, so you can check it out. Very interested to see what Tillman Singer does next. I think that
yes.
I hope that he just keeps at it. I hope that he continues to do his own, like, stick to his own creative style, and just commits to bringing these kind of crazy ideas to life. Very excited to see what he's got next. All right, let's move on and talk about some of what we've been watching. I think that it is my turn this week.
Hit me.
I started the week off. I didn't see a lot this week, but I started the week off with Blink Twice,
All right.
which is I guess it's a horror. It's a horror movie. We'll say it's a horror movie, written and directed by Zoe Kravitz. And I was like kind of curious about this one. Didn't really know much about it. I think I saw one trailer or something, so I had a very slight idea of what it was about. And I got to say, really enjoyed this one. Basically, it is a Channing Tatum plays this like tech billionaire guy who sort of after there were like some allegations that happened against him. He came out with like this apology video and then kind of went into hiding for a while. And nobody heard from him, et cetera, et cetera. And suddenly he comes back and does like an interview and he's like, yeah, I just needed to seek therapy and work on myself and blah, 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 the typical crap. And it turns out that he bought an island, this like beautiful tropical island. And he is like, hey, let's go to this island. He meets the main character played by Naomi Ackie, and she's working as like a caterer, and her company gets hired to cater this like event that for his company. And the two of them meet, start to talk, and he's like, hey, why don't you come with me, bring your friend, and we'll have a good time. So at first things are kind of normal. They're just having a good time, living the rich life, lavish, everything. But then things start to get a little weird. Like they start waking up with like bruises and different injuries, and things start to like they're not even sure how long they've been there, and then things just kind of escalate from there. Where it goes, I think, is very entertaining, very satisfying. I liked where it went. It definitely has shades of movies that like we've seen in recent years, like Promising Young Woman or Get Out. Even it has a bit of a Get Out vibe to it for sure. But that's not necessarily a bad thing, because I think that it in the end, I think that it has its own message and tells its own story. And I think that it's done very well. I was pretty impressed with Zoe Kravitz's writing and directing in this. It is very well written and it is quite well directed. Kind of surprised. Like there's some like artistic camera work here and there. I mean, mostly it's pretty standard, but there's some little flourishes in here. Also, it's got a really great cast. In addition to the people that I already mentioned, you have Leah Shawkat, Christian Slater, Simon Rex, Haley Joel Osment, Gina Davis. Lots of good people in this. And Kyle MacLachlan. And I really found the where it goes and how it ends to be very satisfying. So yeah, I give it a recommend. Blink Twice. Check it out. I'm surprised. Very surprised about this one.
Interesting. That's a surprise.
Yeah.
I watched The New York Ripper from 1982 from Tubi. This was on Tubi. Get your Fulci.
Yeah, this is a brutal one if I remember correctly.
Oh my goodness. If you know Italian movies and razors to bodies, this is up there. There's one whole sequence where it's just a guy cutting up a prostitute, and it is tough to watch. It's just close up of razors going through body parts. It is rough. Now, the craziest thing to me about this movie, right? It's this police detective teams up with a college, psychoanalyst, whatever, to try and track down this killer. It's this guy going around and just killing young women. And there's a ton of red herrings in this movie. Just a bunch of people introduced. It's kind of a mess because you think it's one guy, and then they introduce a woman that it could be, and then there's another guy, and then another. Yeah, honestly, it's kind of a mess. But, it's early 80s New York. So it's pretty great. But one of the things that they don't talk about in the synopsis or anything is they find the first victim, and the detective is talking to the woman's landlord, the victim's landlord, talking just what do you know, guy, and he talks like a duck. He quacks, and you're just like, what?
Mhm.
That can't be right. That's a weird thing. She's old, like something's
Yeah.
something's weird. Like she just something that'll be explained later. Surely he's not a duck.
Oh, he's
Because
a
that's
duck.
ridiculous. No, he's a fucking duck, dude.
It's Donald Duck. It's
First, because of course now it switches. After the first victim's found, the second victim, it switches, to that kind of like point of view, like the killer's point of view, but not always. Like they just use it occasionally throughout the movie, and he's just fucking quacking while he's trying to kill people, and you're just like, what the fuck is this? And the quacking just gets even more ridiculous. And the way that it's explained in the end is it's insane. It's incredible that none of that, like if you go to the page and you look at this information, none of the quacking is there. They don't tip their hand with the quacking. That just hits you right in the beginning. What a like chef's kiss of something to add to a slasher movie. Because everything about it is completely normal, and then just throw in that caveat of like, oh, by the way, the killer quacks like a duck. How about that?
Yeah, it's great.
We should be doing that more often with more movies. Just throw in a stupid fucking just a little piece of someone's character. Just make it ridiculous and outlandish. Please.
All right, that's New York Ripper. That's one of my top Fulcis, I think.
It's definitely one of his better ones. It's definitely one of his better movies.
It's a rough watch for sure, but
yeah,
I think that it's one of his good ones. Let's see. I saw Afraid. This came out on VOD platforms this weekend. It's directed by Chris Weitz. This is the guy who did Down to Earth, starring Chris Rock. So, for that one.
No, that experience is seared into my mind.
I'll never forget going to see that in the theater. Boy, this one is pretty much just as bad as Down to Earth, and maybe worse than Down to Earth. Actually, it's about a killer AI.
Yeah, nice.
Bet you didn't see that one coming. This movie is like an episode of Black Mirror without any kind of like subtext or metaphor or anything. It's like it's all taken at straight face value, surface level. Basically, you have John Cho and Catherine Waterston here. They have 3 kids. John Cho works for this like big time marketing company, and they get a new client, and it's this tech company that has this really super advanced AI called Aya. You can believe that. And they're like, okay, well, we want to hire you, but you really need to like kind of learn what Aya is or whatever. So they put it in his house, and it starts like interacting with his wife and his kids and him and stuff like that. And at first, it's all cool, like the like she's helping them, and then eventually, like she just starts going overboard with a lot of the stuff. She starts hurting people, stuff like that, and you got yourself a rogue AI here. It turns out that she's self-aware, she's sentient, all of that stuff, and she's got perhaps some ulterior motive. Everything is just exactly what you would think. It's not scary at all, not even remotely. Like they try to throw some jump scares at you and some weird stuff, but none of it actually works, and everything feels extremely dated, even though it just came out. Like it feels like a script that was written many years ago. And the fact that AI is actually progressing at such a rapid pace. This movie, even though it's supposed to be like, oh, this is the future of AI, it already feels dated.
Yeah.
So
No,
it's dog.
extremely good.
It is absolute dog shit. Do not watch it. Moral of this story is that, surprise, surprise, AI is not good. AI can be bad.
Are you sure though?
The end is fucking ridiculous. I will say that.
Now we're talking.
I'm not going to give it away, but it is absolutely ridiculous, nonsensical. But
nice.
Whatever. Avoid afraid. I think everybody who is in this can do better.
Well, I don't know about that.
Well, I'm not including Chris Weitz, because I honestly don't think he can do better. But like John Cho and Catherine Waterston, Keith Carradine's in here, and like these are all good. These are good actors. David Dastmalchian too.
Oh, okay, yeah, I gotcha.
Ricky Lindholm is in here. Like there's good people in here.
Yeah. Well, they got paid, so that's nice.
Yeah.
Hopefully they got paid.
Yeah, hopefully.
I watched A Nightmare on Elm Street 3: Dream Warriors.
Now, for a lot of people,
Dream Warriors.
For a lot of people, this is their favorite one.
Dude, this movie is so fucking awesome.
I know.
It's
a movie, and sorry to interrupt, but I get very excited talking about Dream Warriors because it's a movie that you wouldn't even think exists. You know, like it's a concept where it's like there's a team of kids who set out to kill Freddy Krueger. Like they're hunting him. And I think that's such a cool idea.
No, it makes perfect sense too. Like watching this movie and the way they set it up, like I don't think you could have done it any more perfectly than what they do here. Essentially having these kids struggling with Freddy coming to get them in their dreams. And of course they're all trying to stay awake. They can't sleep. And of course, it starts affecting their lives negatively. So they get sent to like this institution because, some of them have, whatever, they all end up there, right? And they all kind of like congregate. And when they're having their, weekly therapy sessions or whatever, they're all talking about the same experiences. And of course, no one believes them because they're in an institution. But of course, Heather Langenkamp's character comes and she's like, I know exactly what the fuck you guys are talking about.
Yeah.
This is what we're going to do. So then it becomes a ragtag crew, which you always love that in any movie. It's great. And then within the dream world, whatever, of course, it's like, yeah, let's give everyone a superpower or like this, special ability in this world. And you're just like, this is perfect. This is perfect. It's insane to me that the Nightmare on Elm Street, the first 3 movies, are this fucking good.
Yeah, it's as far as like the horror franchises go, Nightmare on Elm Street was always like the thing about like Halloween and Friday the 13th is that all of their sequels were felt pretty much the same. Friday the 13th especially, all the sequels are bad. And I don't necessarily mean that as like a knock against it. I still like them, even though they're bad. But Nightmare on Elm Street, man, I feel like all of them have something special.
Well, and I think that I appreciate, especially with Dream Warriors, because I feel like with Dream Warriors, it really came back, is, they have that Freddy attacking people in their dreams. And they play that up. Like this movie in particular uses a lot of great imagination in the dream world, and like the effects that they pull off are just astonishing. Like it looks so fucking good, and it's just so creative and imaginative, but also kind of like really fucking deeply unsettling at the same time. Like it still works as a horror movie, but it's still kind of fun in the same vein. Like it has everything.
Yeah, it's so good. You got Patricia Arquette in here as well. And also, huge props to them for not killing the black guy in it.
Yes, true.
During this time,
Yes.
during this time, the token black guy in
Be the
these
first,
movies
yeah.
would always be the first to go. And Kincaid, Ken Sagos' character, he made it through. He's in the fourth one.
Hell yeah. And I just love how pissed off he gets anytime they try and talk about stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, his character's great. But I love this movie.
It's incredible. Absolutely incredible. I can't wait for the fourth Dream Master.
I mean, don't
Yeah. No, I know it's
don't get your
gonna start
hopes up.
taking off.
Like it's from this point, in my opinion, from this point, like Dream Warriors is the peak, and then you start to go down, and then what you call it? Oh my God, New Nightmare is when that's probably one of the best. New Nightmare is when Wes Craven comes back and directs the final one.
Yeah.
That one's on a different level. Anyway, Nightmare on Elm Street 3, The Dream Warriors. Check it out. Sorry, it's not The Dream Warriors, it's Dream Warriors. The final one that I'll mention is Kneecap by Rich Pepiet. This is a biopic of sorts about it's the story of the hip hop group Kneecap. If you're not familiar with them, they are an Irish hip hop group that mainly raps in Gaelic, which is something different. As far as I know, they were the first, and maybe they're still the only group that raps in Irish, which is kind of interesting. And their music's actually pretty good too. So I was interested to see this movie. It's them playing themselves, so they're acting in it as well. And I gotta say, all three of them, you would not know that they're not professional actors. Like, they do such a good job in this movie. I was kind of blown away at how good they are. Specifically, like DJ Provi. He is. I actually had to look it up because I thought that they hired an actor to play him, because he's the guy who has the balaclava on. So I wasn't really sure like what he looked like.
Yeah, yeah.
But and I thought that the person playing him was actually just an actor, but it is the real guy. So this is a fictionalized account of their sort of rise to fame. Obviously, a lot of things in it are real. The major things that happen, and I think are real, but a lot of it is fictionalized to make it more entertaining, and it is very entertaining. It's a biopic, but it's also kind of a comedy in a way, and I definitely recommend it. I had a really great time with Kneecap. It's got a great soundtrack and score as well, which you would hope so with a movie that's entirely about music, but it's got a really strong political message in it as well. I mean, if you are familiar with this group at all, most of their music is very politically charged, and they've gotten in trouble a lot over it in the past, and this movie is sort of a culmination of like a lot of their ideas that they put into their music. So yeah, it is definitely worth a look. I believe that this premiered at Sundance earlier in this year, and I think that it won the Next award. So definitely worth a look. Kneecap.
The only other thing I have is I watched The Exorcist. You ever hear of The Exorcist?
I think so.
The old movie. It's about demon possession.
Oh, okay. The old
Yeah,
one.
this girl. Yeah, this girl gets demon possessed.
Okay.
And they get the demon out of there. Watch this because my wife has never watched it, and she's always been kind of trepidatious of watching it. So finally took advantage of this window where she was into the idea of watching The Exorcist. And God damn, does The Exorcist still hold up? Yeah. So fucking good. So good. Like, it just incredible filmmaking. it just, there's not much else to say. It's
It's an
incredible
absolute
filmmaking.
classic.
It's absolutely stone cold classic. Stone cold. That guy fucking jumping out that window at the end. Jesus Christ.
I don't like a lot of people are just like, I don't really find it scary. I still think that The Exorcist is one of the scariest movies of all time.
Yeah. And I think in terms of like, okay, yeah, I could see it not being scary or that scary in 2024. Right. I get that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you're
to a certain extent.
I guess if you're coming to it, if you're like a teenager or something, or a little bit older, and you're watching it for the first time in 2024, yeah, I guess it makes sense in that. But like, like when I saw it when I was a kid, it scared the shit out of me because that kid, the main character, Linda Blair's character, Reagan, she's a kid and there's like no reason for it. And it makes so when you're watching it, if you're a kid, you're thinking to yourself, this could happen to me at any moment for any reason, And that's, I think, what the scary part was for me watching it as a kid.
And also it just does such a good job of them approaching it where, like, obviously they kind of have a plan, but they don't really know if it's or if she's going to survive it.
Yeah.
Or what the actual outcome is going to be. And then it's just kind of like a Hail Mary at the end. Like, let me try this out. Like, who the fuck knows if that's going to work? But it just, to be one of the first, the big, that's what I mean in like 2024. There's been so many fucking demon possession movies now that, if you do go to this one, like you said, as a teenager, you're just going to be like, well, this isn't that scary. Like everything's green. There's green vomit. It looks ridiculous. Mm-hmm. But just the artistry of it.
Yep.
Bring back.
And now you gotta check out The Exorcist 3. Or wait, did you see The Exorcist 3?
I don't think so. Pretty sure I didn't.
You can skip 2, but go to 3.
Okay.
It's like a completely different type of movie, but it's like excellent. It is a very scary movie. All right, let's see what we have in theaters this week. Got Megalopolis.
Oh,
the old Frankie Ford Coppola.
Wow, in theaters. Watch out. Like the old days.
Yeah. I want to see this. I hear that it's an absolute train wreck, and that's kind of why I want to see it.
Hell yeah.
I think it's going to be one of those that's like so colossally insane that, like, at first, when it first comes out, people are going to hate on it. But then, like, over the years, it's going to start to grow in appreciation. And then before you know it, it's like a cult classic. Yeah. And it's going to have that Showgirls syndrome, I think.
Watch out, man.
Or what's that other one? Southland Tales. Maybe like that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. We'll see. We also have Hellboy, the Crooked Man.
More Hellboys.
Mm-hmm. This is the third Hellboy.
Really?
No, fourth. Sorry, I forgot the two. There's the 2 Del Toro ones, and then the David Harbour one, and then this one.
I feel like there's more than 4 Hellboys, but
there was like an animated series and stuff. I mean, I'm not counting that.
Yeah.
Live action. This is the 4th one. That's pretty much it for theaters. Got some limited release stuff. Asriel is one of them. I want to see that. But I hope that's going to get a pretty quick turnaround to VOD. Speaking of, take a look and see what we have on VOD this week. We got Apartment 7A. I'm interested in that. The horror movie. Got Killer Heat. Amber Alert. Leap, which I'm vaguely interested in. Got Succubus. Paradox Effect. Hayride to Hell.
It's a Hayride to Hell?
Oh, yeah.
Hayride to Hell.
It's like Field of Screams. We still do that? Field of Screams?
Mm-hmm. Oh, man. Small town farmer gets his revenge. Doesn't sound.
We have Winter Island. We got The Becomers. Plan B. Beazle. Yeah.
Basil.
Basil. The Life of Peter Gottlieb. The Boy in the Woods. And then Stylebender. Stylebender. What is this? It's an intimate look at Israel Adesanya, the Nigerian-born, New Zealand-based MMA champion, who goes beyond the octagon and delves deep into an unlikely fighter's journey. All right.
Yeah.
There you have it. Let's see what we have on Netflix this week. Bangkok Breaking, Heaven and Hell. Got Will and Harper. That's the documentary with Will Ferrell. Res Ball. Guessing that's about basketball.
Mm-hmm.
On Amazon, we have Previously Saved Version. The funny thing about this is, like, I never heard of this movie before, and I thought that it was like maybe a placeholder or something on the release date website. Like, doesn't it sound like something like Previously Saved Version? It sounds like a bug or something on the site, but it's a real movie. It's a sci-fi movie. On Shudder this week, we have Oddity coming out, and I would recommend checking out Oddity. It's a good one.
Yes, indeed.
On Blu-ray,
here we go.
We got Friday the 13th coming out in 4K. This is the 2009 remake, which I actually liked. I want to go back and watch it again. I don't think I saw it since it was in the theaters, but I do remember thinking that it was decent. Got Long Legs coming out. Body Double from 1984. That's a steel book, 4K. We got Bloodbath at the House of Death.
Oh, hold on.
Well, what do you expect? You know? Not a bloodbath at the House of Death?
Why? Yeah, why would you go to the House of Death? Why would you visit?
Guess they weren't expecting a bloodbath, but they were in for a surprise.
Wait, I don't have anything coming up. The only thing coming up is a Bay of Blood.
This is from 1984, so maybe it has a different... Might have a different title.
Because I need it. Okay?
Yeah, Bloodbath at the House of Death.
Because it's Bloodbath, one word.
Yeah, one word.
You can't do that. You cannot do that with Letterboxd. Letterboxd is probably the
dumbest. It is pretty strict. Titles.
It is the dumbest website in the world.
Devil Times 5 from 1974. Devil Times 5?
5 devils?
5 extremely disturbed sociopathic children escape from their psychiatric transport and are taken in unwittingly by a group of adult villagers on winter vacation.
Oh my god. So you got 5 toddler devils just roaming around. Oh boy.
This is a Vinegar Syndrome release, as is the previous one we mentioned, Bloodbath. So that one's gone on my list for sure.
Yeah, I'm getting Devil Times 5.
Hell's Trap from 1989. This is another Vinegar Syndrome release that I'm also going to be adding to my list.
What was
7 young people. Hell's Trap. 7 young people go to a desolated forest looking for a bear. What they don't know is that a crazy Vietnam vet lives there and is waiting for fresh blood.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Add that to the watch list.
Let's see what else we have here. Murder on the Orient Express 50th Anniversary Edition. Got Village of the Damned from 1995. Stardust from 2007. There's a Mad Max 5 film collection coming out. That's cool. Despicable Me 4. A Wounded Fawn. Bad Boys, Ride or Die. An Eye for an Eye from 1990. My Heart is That Eternal Rose from 1989. The Creature from 1977. Link from 1986. Link is this. The zoology student must try to outsmart a murderous and super intelligent orangutan. You know, this stars Elizabeth Shue. You know, I would watch this had it not been for the fact that I just watched Chimp Crazy, and I no longer want to watch like any movies with live apes in them. I just can't do it.
I hear you.
All right, what about Criterion's this week?
We got two. We got Happiness from 1998.
Classic.
Okay.
Classic.
Got that. And then you got Greg Araki box set trilogy. Totally Fucked Up from 1993, The Doom Generation from 1995, and Nowhere from 97.
What do you think about Araki? Are you familiar with his work? Are you a fan of Greg Araki?
No, I am not familiar enough with his work. I think I've only seen one.
I'm a big fan of Doom Generation. However, he did Kaboom, didn't he? Isn't that?
I'm pretty sure he did.
And I didn't like that. I really didn't like Kaboom. I have not seen Totally Fucked Up or Nowhere. I've always been somewhat interested in checking out Nowhere. So maybe I'll give this a look. I don't know if I necessarily want to buy the box set, but maybe they'll release these on streaming or something.
More than likely.
Yeah,
I would think.
All right, cool. Well, I think that is going to do it for this week. Thank you so much for listening. You can send us your questions and topics to podcast@filmpulse.net. If you could, consider giving us a review on your podcast platform of choice. For Kevin Rakestraw, my name's Adam Patterson. We'll see you next week.